This is a presentation that I will be giving on a couple of ideas that I have, a couple of possible ideas that I might be doing for my FMP. The introduction. For a final major project, we have to either make a well-made Unreal environment that has aspects of gameplay, so walking around and interacting with the environment, or a full 2D or 3D game, so one or multiple levels, as well as obviously interesting gameplay. I'm really looking forward to this project as I've had a lot of ideas that I could have done, but I've managed to condense it down into two possible ideas. So I have two main ideas on what I want to do. The first one focuses more on modelling and animating. So there'll be a lot of models, and you'd either see things moving, or you'd go into cinematic videos, if you will. So where you leave the character and zoom around the environment. While the other one is a game, so it focuses more on Unreal and obviously animation, character creation, and coding the full game with characters and possible attacking and enemies. So for each option, I will talk through the advantages and disadvantages. The first idea is the game idea. It's an idea that I've had for a very long time. I've been to 3 colleges, and I've had this idea since the first one when we did a small games design, a small games design unit. So yes, we only did a couple of weeks or so on games design, as there was an overall look at IT. So we had to come up with a game idea, and this is the game idea that I had, and it's just kept with me throughout all of the colleges that I've been through. It's a game where it's 3D, you traverse and you have to get through a maze, and you have to, there are enemies in the maze that you can either choose to sneak around, so while their back's turned or when they go around a corner, or you can kill them, either because there'll be weapons that you can find around the maze, and every now and again, rarely, a 1% to 5% chance, an enemy, if you kill him, will drop a key, which will open a hidden door somewhere in the maze that will give you access to a very powerful weapon. Main advantages for this idea is that since I've had this idea for a very long time, it's become very fleshed out through every single college. Every college that I've been to, it's gone more and more, when we did a small bit of work on it. So my first college, I just came up with the idea, made a few models as that was the assignment, and then the second college that I went to, I had to, it got fleshed out a bit more, and then for the third college, this one, it's getting fleshed out even more, so I know what I want the game to be like, and how I want it to, how I want it to look, and how I want it to play. However, as shown by the last project, making even a demo of a game, that was only 2D as well, with multiple characters, each having their own multiple animations, a good looking environment, and coding everything in Unreal is very hard to do and very time consuming to do in a group, and obviously I'll be doing this one by myself, so there'll be even more work. I'll also need to learn quite a bit more before I can start working on this idea, though, as I don't really know much about how I would do some of the things that I wanted to do. For example, the key dropping would be quite easy. It would just be a random number generator, but finding out that when you've picked up the key that it will open the door, that would be quite hard I don't know. It'd be complicated. It'd be a good challenge, but I think there'd be too many challenges for me to handle in the time given. I'd be doing a lot of the design creation and most of the animation in Maya, as it's 3D animation. And obviously everything would be put into Unreal, as that's where the game would be. I'd spend quite a lot of, probably most of the time in Unreal, as once the animations had all been finished, it would just be a lot of coding that needs doing, so sorting out the character animations and when to play what animation, and all of the coding for attacking and all the drops and all the enemy AI. It'd just be a lot of coding, so I'd spend a lot of time in Unreal. For the research, I think this would actually be quite easy to research this game idea, as most of the since I came up with this idea, I always knew that if I was going to end up making it, a lot of my research would be for the Tomb Raider series, as it kind of has the same vibe. So it'd be you'd be exploring through 1,000-year-old long lost maze, as shown by Tomb Raider, where you're exploring long lost monuments and structures. Obviously, I'd also be the Tomb Raider would only be a small, well, not small, but would only be an inspiration, so that I'd actually have to work on my own designs. And you can see in these images, the top image was a picture that of a section of wall that I made in my first college for one of the assignments, and then the second image is I made in my second college. It's a more detailed look at the wall, so with instead of just a corner of the wall missing, it's got a hole in it and bricks have fallen and they might have made a pile on the floor. You can sort of see in the background some other wall sections. For my second idea, it's based around something that I find really personally interesting. For a long time, I've been really interested with future technologies and what technologies might come about once the human race has evolved into a fully spacefaring civilization. And one of these technologies is what is called a Dyson sphere. Example, right now we are only collecting 0.0000001%. It's, I think, 0.5 billionth of a percent of all of the total energy that the sun is giving off. And a Dyson sphere would let us collect it let us collect 100% of all of its energy, as it encompasses the star, letting us collect all of the solar energy and the radiation that it gives off all the way around it. So we're not just in a tiny area. We'd be collecting all around it, so 100% of everything that it gives off. And this would be very useful for us, like when we turn into a spacefaring civilization, as obviously we need a lot of power to power things like possible ring worlds, terraforming planets, and yeah, we just need a lot of energy. Space travel would obviously require a lot of energy, and if we ever develop hypersonic, like almost the speed of light, that will require a lot of energy for us to go as fast as almost the speed of light. It'd let us collect the full amount of energy that the sun gives off, and which is 3.86 times 10 to the 26th power, so that's 3.86 with 26 zeros of watts that the sun would give off. We'd have access to 100% of all of that, and that's just the solar energy. We'd obviously be able to collect radiation and everything like that. The idea that I've had is that you'd be walking through a space station, and you'd obviously make your way through the space station, going from room to room, opening doors and things, until you come to the bridge of the space station. So there'd be large windows that you can see outside, and you'd see, sort of in the distance but quite close, a mostly complete Dyson sphere, and you'd end up at a console that you can activate Dyson sphere, and so the Dyson sphere would complete, and then it would activate, and then you could collect all the energy within, and you might jump to light speed or something, just to show that you needed the energy that the Dyson sphere gave you. If you ever want to learn more, this video here is by Kazgasat. I don't know how to say the name, but it's a really interesting science channel, and it's that's the video that taught me about Dyson spheres and got me really interested in them. The main advantage of doing this idea is that it would let me focus on what I'm really good at, which is my modelling and my texturing. It would also give me a chance to do some more research on the topic that I enjoy, which is spacefaring civilizations technologies. The main disadvantage is that this is completely science fiction now. I can't get any references by just walking outside, looking up and seeing a big Dyson sphere or spaceship. So all of my research would have to come from online, whether it's watching films or playing games or just looking at Google Images. However, this is also really good, as it will let me gather a lot of images of lots of different designs and kind of combine each of the aspects that I like about each one. Obviously, the Dyson sphere, the area that you can walk around, and the spaceship would be made in Maya, along with the animations, and I would put everything together into an Unreal environment. For the research, like I said, it'd be a lot harder to research Dyson spheres than it would the previous idea, which was like run down walls and broken walls. I could just walk outside and see a couple of broken walls, things like that. The only way I could do research would be online. However, online there are a lot of games, and notably games and films and other pieces of fiction that have Dyson spheres. For example, Nidavellir in Avengers Infinity War, that can be considered a Dyson sphere. Though it obviously isn't a massive sphere that just encompasses the whole of the sphere. The star, it's just a few massive rings that shift and kind of rotate around each other, so to keep in the sun's energy and to collect it. Star Trek: The Next Generation and Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri and Halo Wars are some examples of games that have Dyson spheres in them, so that I could collect images and reference from those and see how they made their Dyson spheres look. Final thoughts. While I would really like to do obviously both ideas because I'm interested in both, I think I'm going to have to go with the second design, the Dyson sphere one, as like I said before, even though the maze is an idea that I've had for a very long time and I've really wanted to do, right now I feel that I don't have the skills to make a fully fleshed, good looking, well running game. So if I get onto year 2, then I would leave the making the maze game until then, when I've got more experience and knowledge in making games. However, I'm not obsessed with this, as obviously it will let me work on the Dyson sphere, which is a topic that I'm really interested in. I'm really looking forward to making it. So that's it. So thank you for watching.